Howdy, folks. Some people
Hi,
having
everyone.
voice problems.
Hey.
Yep, I guess it's working, some of us anyway. Alright, well, I guess I might as well go ahead and get started. Troy said he was going to be running a few minutes late, so we won't wait for him right now. I'll get his input when he pops in. So let's see. Basically, this past week has been working on bugs. There's a couple of things that we have fixes for in the pipeline. The next project viewer hasn't been built yet, but the next build should include these fixes. One was a problem with eye scaling, where we had an issue with the eye scales for mesh eyes. The problem was that the mesh eyes that were being used for reference there were actually off themselves. They weren't the same size as the system eyes, and so the scales were all a bit too low. So anybody who tried to make their eyes the right size to work with those sliders may have to do some tweaking when they re-upload, but hopefully that's not going to affect too many people. Let's see, other changes. There's also just a typo in the avatar LAD where we're referencing a non-existent bone. I spent quite a bit of time looking into other issues this week that I can talk about a little bit. We've got them listed in the agenda here. Certainly the most popular is this issue with the face, especially like the snout getting distorted when you have joint positions. And as we discussed before, this looks like it's some kind of an export issue with Avistar, and I know Matrice and Guy are working on it now. But the typical way this will manifest from a Second Life perspective is that the wrong joint positions get baked into the model, and so then the appearance you get when you do a reset skeleton or just when you first load your model is not going to match what you get after you run an animation, because the animations are using the right positions and the joint positions are wrong, and so there's an inconsistency there. Matrice, do you want to say anything else about how that stuff's all going?
So, you can hear me? Yeah, okay. Right at the moment, I'm still fighting with the math. I guess that the main problem comes from the difference between the rest pose and the default pose of the skeleton. And in Blender, it's the problem is that we don't have a nice way to define the absolute rest pose, the Second Life rest pose, and add bind pose information on top of this. This makes things very difficult for us to keep them in the right, to keep the numbers right. And that's where I'm struggling since many weeks now to get this all into a precise setup. So it may take another couple of days until I can say I am through all of this. But I think that the issues on the snout, on the face, can very well be explained with this discrepancy between the default shape and the rest pose shape, because we might export the wrong information into the Collada files.
I know there was a forum post recently suggesting a workaround there, something to do with resetting the skeleton before doing the modeling.
Yes.
Has anybody tried that? Do we have any feedback on whether that workaround is helping?
So all what I can say is that when we reset the skeleton to the second life rest pose in Avastar, then we do not see any distortions on any face bone. So we think that doing this in Avastar will be a good workaround at the moment. This is for sure not what we want to see at the end, because it should be nobody should take care about this. It should be done all automatically. But right now, I believe the only way to get things out of Avastar in a good way is to just reset the skeleton, which is a one-click task. It's not very complicated to do.
Now, if you've already started modeling and you do that, is that going to reset the changes you've already tried to make to the skeleton then?
It doesn't reset all the changes, but it, as far as I can see, it distorts the skeleton. When you don't, when you start it up with an arbitrary shape, or with the default shape, or with whatever, and then you reset to the rest pose, then the difference between the two shapes must be seen in the. You will see a difference in the skeleton then, of course, and this needs to be adjusted. And actually, this is the main reason why we think that if you do not start the skeleton editing with the rest pose, then you get exactly this difference exported. And when you later import this into Second Life, then this difference is again imported. I think it's imported twice, and this can very well explain why you see these distortions. I'm not 100% sure if this is the true cause, but I believe it's at least related to this.
Yeah, as far as the Second Life side goes, positions that come from the joint positions in a mesh and positions that come from an animation are treated pretty similarly. In either case, it's basically just modifying the position of the underlying joint to match whatever value it finds. So it's hard to see how there could be an issue on the viewer side that would cause a mismatch, except just if the source numbers themselves are different. It's I guess until we have some kind of a definite statement on or at least a fix that we want to test on the Avastar side, it's hard to be 100% sure, but that still looks like our best. Understanding of the situation. Let's see, other things. Something that just came up recently. Some people mentioned that they had been seeing issues with rigs that were modifying the collision volumes. It's possible that doesn't work even as well as it did at one point. Of course, it was one of those things that we never actually planned on supporting, and it didn't even come up during the discussions about rigging to attachment points early in the Bento project, so we haven't been trying to make sure that it worked at all. So I've just started poking around in that a little bit. Whether we would try to continue to support that would depend on whether we could get it working correctly, how much impact that would have. At least it's going to take up more kind of a limited address space that gets used internally for managing joints. I'll spare you all the details on that, but there was an issue with that originally, which is why the attachment point stuff never quite worked as intended, I think. So anyway, I'll look into it. Not sure, completely whether that makes sense to try to support or not, but we'd at least like to understand the problem a little bit better than we do right now. How many folks have seen issues with collision volume based rigs? I think I have a model from Tiger that was affected. Don't remember if the original problem was cited by someone else. Torn Leaf, that's right. And Leviathan. Okay. Okay, well, that's about it for now. We'll do some more investigation on it. Let's see. We've got these issues with avatar height calculations where I know that the Wyvern in particular, we've got problems with your viewpoint getting bobbed up and down, and the poor Wyvern getting bobbed up and down because of the height calculation stuff. Nothing new on that. We're still kind of trying to update the height more often than we were before, so that we don't have the old issues we were, but not so often. We're introducing new issues, and I don't know if there's going to be a perfect setting for that, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah, Aki. Yeah, there's not really a workaround in the viewer side. It's we are computing the body size more often. The only change I know of would be to change the way the animations work. I think the issues are probably mostly coming from animating the pelvis, but obviously in the case of the Wyvern, that's deliberate. You actually are trying to make the body sort of bob up and down while keeping the feet on the ground. And I'm not sure if there's another way to accomplish that wouldn't introduce the same kinds of issues. It's possibly keeping the pelvis stationary and animating the feet instead would work with the current viewer behavior, but I haven't tried with any alternate animations. I think I haven't actually checked the camera part, but I think it's probably just effectively tracking the pelvis, the overall position of the avatar. If we fix the camera, that would stop the kind of viewpoint bobbing up and down issue, but it wouldn't help with the problem that your character isn't positioned on the ground correctly, right? You'd still have the problem of getting kind of shoved underground and then pulled back up. And I know the camera code itself is fairly complicated. I'm pretty sure that if we change the logic for positioning the camera, that's just going to introduce other bugs that we would spend a lot of time trying to wrangle. So, it's if at all possible, I'd like to try to fix it, by addressing the body size thing, which is what we were originally changing to fix one bug, and then in the process introduce this other thing. So I guess probably the next step is on us. I'll let you know if we have a fix that we're hoping will help, and then we can test it against your model. If that doesn't seem to get us where we'd like to be, then we might want to look at trying to see if there's a way to work it around on the content creation side. If there's a way to define the animations that doesn't wind up fighting with the it doesn't wind up fighting with the positioning code. So I think those are the issues that I'm aware of that we have JIRAs filed for. If there's other things that people are running into that aren't covered by that, please let us know. Best way is to file a bug with some supporting, images and test data. That's the best way to help us track down what's going on. I can throw it open. Actually, before I throw it open, let me bounce it over to Troy if he's got anything to say to the group, and then we can have a kind of open Q&A if anybody's running into other issues. Hey Troy, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? Sorry I was late. I apparently went to a burrito place that was super popular today, so for lunch. So the only thing I wanted to add was, Vera and I were talking about, it's a really good place. I haven't been there in months, and I decided, I feel like a burrito today, and I think everybody else had the same idea. Yeah, next time. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that Vera and I were talking earlier in the week just about timeline. We're very eager to get this thing out to RC, but of course we're not going to push it if it's not ready. So, did you guys talk anything about that, Vera, early on before I joined?
We haven't said anything about schedule this meeting, no.
Okay. Well, just want to put it out there to the group that it is on our mind. Getting this viewer out to more people, of course, wouldn't do them any good if there's no content. But we're hoping to get other creators, start playing around with it and testing it. So, just gives us a little bit better idea of what we're dealing with, especially if we get a larger sample size of people using it. So, I just want to throw that out there that it is on our mind. So we'll be thinking about that in the next couple weeks. I think I threw out a question about a finger in the wind estimate of trying to get it out in the next couple weeks. Do we think that's feasible at this point, or are we still looking at...
at this point the number of bugs is increasing rather than decreasing, which makes the whole scheduling thing a little problematic. Personally I'd love to get it out this month, but it's really going to depend on whether we can kind of fix them faster than the new ones turn up. I would say at this point, I wouldn't absolutely rule it out, but we're just going to have to kind of wait and see.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I just figured I'd throw it out to anybody. So if you guys have anything you guys are eager to get it out and get out to a wider audience, excuse me. Get as much tinkering as you can done, so we can help uncover any gotchas.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of blocked on their testing right now by these joint position issues. It makes it hard to test other things. So we'll have to kind of see how all of that shakes out as well.
Totally understand. Sorry, Tiger. I know you guys have all put in a bunch of time and effort on this thing. Alright, I will hand it back over to you, Veer.
Okay, well, yeah, we can, I hear you. It's plenty toasty here. Okay, well, I can basically just throw it open to the floor at this point. Has anyone run into problems, other than the things that we've already talked about this week? And if so, are there JIRAs percolating for those?
Can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
I made this experiment with the triangles, if you can see on my head. These triangles represent the positions of the bones. The green ones show where they should be. The red ones show where they are. From what I can deduce is that because of the bug, the position of the bones is like size increase that is how to put it, centered around the end of the head bone. It's like if you had all the face bones and made them bigger with the center at the end of the head bone.
Okay, yeah, that's
How did you make this model?
This model is made in this, how to put it, the model is a copy. The green and the red are exact copy of the mesh, and the skeleton is exactly the same. See, but the red ones are each rigged to a separate bone, while the green ones are all rigged to the head bone, M head bone. M head. To this bone.
Which tool did you use to make this model?
The one that came last week.
Now, I mean, how did you create the Collada file?
Export with Avastar.
Okay. The problem is that when you compare the default shape with the Second Life rest pose shape, then you will see that in the Second Life rest pose shape the head is significantly bigger than in the default shape, and what you show here looks pretty much like that. You have exported with the default shape and not you have created the mesh using the default shape and not the rest pose shape. This is exactly what what I mentioned before, which where I say if you start if you first reset the skeleton to rest pose shape and then you go ahead and make your editing and create your meshes and bind them and export them, then all these discrepancies should go away.
I see. Okay, I'll try it and we shall see what it does.
And that would be an interesting test, since it's if you're starting from scratch with a simple model, you're not going to have the issues with kind of having to redo a lot of work. So it'd be good to hear how that goes.
I'll just make the bone, make the skeleton anew. So I guess if I start from the scratch with the skeleton and just after I set the pose, then it should work as Matrice says.
Yeah, you need to hit the white stickman icon. This is the magic button.
Okay. I shall try and show next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just looking at the kind of shape of the distortions, it seems very consistent with the kinds of issues people have been reporting, where it seems like the bones that are farther down the chain are displaced more, and so you wind up with it's most obvious then if you're looking at something like the snout, where they get offset the most, and
White stickman.
then you have smaller offsets for the other bones as well.
Okay.
I think there was a link in the forum thread a while back about where there was a description about how to do this white stickman reset thing, wasn't there?
I'm unsure. I saw one explanation that said something about disabling some export features, but I think that was for the last one.
Hold on, I will find the link. Just a second, please.
Many thanks. Rig config, join positions, rig display.
the problem what we have there is when you make an export from Avastar, then we have to recalculate the skeleton back to the second life rest pose skeleton. Then we export this second life rest pose skeleton into the collada file. When you start with the default shape or with any other shape, and then you start editing the bones, then you get some sort of mixture between the shape configuration and whatever you have edited. This is a complete mix-up. So when afterwards, when Avastar is going to export, it tries to reset the skeleton which it gets into the second life rest pose shape, and exactly in this stage we have issues at the moment. We do not yet know exactly how to do this reverse reverting the skeleton into the second life rest pose shape, including the offsets, the joint offsets. And when you instead go and start with the second life rest pose shape, so when you click on the white segment icon, you get almost this second life rest pose shape as the beginning of your editing. Then afterwards, when you export whatever you have done there, Avastar does no longer need to find the reverse to recreate the configuration of the second life rest pose skeleton, because it has it already, and because of this you get less distortions. This is the model which we have in our mind when we say use the stickman icon as the beginning at the moment.
Okay, if I have it correctly, I just go to the avatar appearance in the object tab for the skeleton and click the white stickman that resets the skeleton for the rest pose, and from there I start editing the skeleton for the head.
That's the idea, yeah.
Splendid. Okay, thank you. I shall try to fix my head and I'll tell you the results.
Okay. And I hope that we will be able to provide something much more precise until the next meeting. I'm really hopeful to get this finally done.
Okay, many thanks.
The model, the joint positions, aren't really added on top of the effects from the sliders so much as they replace the effects from the sliders, right? They basically overrule the sliders if there's a joint position defined. Does that simplify the math at all, or do you still have the problem of trying to get back into the bind?
Actually,
position?
I think that I have found the solution how to do it, and yes, it's right. It should be less of a problem because as soon as you add a joint offset, the behavior of the bone is less complex. On the other hand, I have been using matrix calculation all the time, which based on having the scale and the position and the translation within the matrix. So now when I deal with modified joints, I have to find a way how to tell the system that it doesn't need to do the translation part. And this is what I made wrong for a couple of weeks. I was not aware of this point, but last week I found out that I can do it in a different way, and since then I'm trying to make it to change the system. Yeah. So this is why I really hope that I can provide a full solution shortly.
Yeah, Tiger asked earlier, how do we know this is an Avastar or a Blender issue? And Tiger, last week I did a whole bunch of tests using Maya, moving face bones around, trying to see if Maya had any problems exporting out of DAE, and then when wearing the mesh, if the lips would deform in the way like it shows in your photos. And Maya was perfectly fine. So we've sort of confirmed that, yeah, it's an export issue out of Blender.
Well, you guys, you all have a problem with using the editor. I sort of understand why you have this problem, because you think you just can edit the joints and all this and all goes automatically, but this is not the case. This has to do with how we are using the slider system, and we are combining the sliders with the joint positions. If you just don't take care about this, if you don't know how to use the joint editor, then you get all sorts of issues, and also you get this problem of resetting this the skeleton to the T pose. This is all because you miss a few steps. They should be defined and explained in this document, setting up joint positions. But maybe we have to rework the document so to make things more clear. And I really hope that we can get this stuff much easier once we have solved the basic problem. We are just in the middle of development still. It's I'm very sorry that this takes so much time, but we are not yet magicians.
Yeah, well, I know we all appreciate the enormous amount of work you've been putting in on this. It's at least I know it's been a big project, and that a lot of the work to make Bento useful has really been the changes on the Avastar side. So we're looking forward to that, but I understand that it's a hard problem, and sometimes, as you guys know from the Second Life development, sometimes these fixes, take some time to get sorted out.
I just did that little trick with resetting the skeleton. I created a new skeleton, reset it, matched it up with my Coyote armature, and exported out, changed over the mesh, which skeleton it was using, and then exported it out, and it fixed all of my face issues, except for the eyes.
Yeah,
oh,
the
nice.
The eyes is another issue. This is most probably because we not yet have added the fix for the eye size.
Is the problem that the eyes are looking kind of sunken or too small?
Push back on mine.
Yeah, I think that should actually. Let me look at you now. I'm running a build that has the fix. I want to see if how it looks for me. Okay, I have the eye scaling fix, and it's still looking a little pushed back to me. It's not bad, but I'm not sure if you're quite. No, I don't know. Maybe that's actually behaving okay. I think I'm just seeing some kind of funny coloring in the eyes. It's actually positioned all right. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, the eye fix is pretty simple. If anybody wants to try it out, I can give them a link to the build that has it. But in any case, the next time we do a project viewer update, we'll be including that. I think you're about right on the eyes as I'm seeing it.
Well, they are a bit sunken in. I can see this.
Are you running with the modified eye
Yes.
scale slider as well?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. They are a little sunken in. If I angle it around from the other side, I can see that they're not quite synced up with the sockets. Okay, so there may still be some other eye thing besides just the scale.
Yeah, for some reasons the eye bones make most issues. I don't really know why, but whenever I get something wrong, I see it first. I see it most. It's most apparent on the eye bones, and I really don't know why.
Medu, are your eyes rigged to the alt eye bones or the regular eye bones?
The regular eye bones.
I'm just curious.
I'm not 100% sure. I think we had some issues with the eye bones. Which version of Avastar did you use for exporting?
I'm using the Alpha 6 right now.
Okay. Well, this should work. Okay. When I'm done with the basic programming, then I will take another look on the eyes and see what's going on there. I think I can get your model from somewhere on the wiki.
I just put DAE of the model on Jira. I can give it to you, though. It doesn't matter to me.
I would need the blend file to chase the whatever is going on there. If you like, you can.
I can give you. Yeah, I can give you a blend file. Do you have a Skype ID or something? Maybe we can do it that way.
Yes. So this is good question. I always forget it because I almost never use Skype. Maybe Casey has my Skype ID. I don't know. Let me look.
I can send it to Gaia. I think she has a Skype ID.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't use Skype.
Can either send it to me and then I can pass it on to Matrice, or Matrice, do you want me to give him your Skype name?
Yeah. You can do that.
Okay, yeah, I can find that and I'll get that to you before the end of the meeting, Madhu.
Give it to me too, please.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, just out of curiosity, Madhu, is your shape, are you using any egghead shape or, the making your face flatter or wider, or are you just simply on the full default, head shapes?
Currently, it's just the default shape, but I have played around with it extensively with this avatar.
Okay, so as long as it's in the default shape, then yeah, I was thinking perhaps if it was an egghead or something like that, maybe the eyes might have gotten off that way, but if you were in the default, that's not an issue.
So this model, what we see now, is this created with Avastar and the skeleton set to Second Life rest pose before you edit it?
Yes, just now I created a new Avastar skeleton.
Okay.
Then I hit reset on the skeleton. Then I selected both the old and new skeleton, and then converted the mesh over to the right skeleton, and then exported it out.
Maybe you can make another test and try using the alt eyes instead of the system eyes, and see if this behaves different. But as I see it right now, it's not right. The eyes don't look as if they are on the correct position.
Yeah, no, I agree. If I look at it from kind of the from the back, you can see that there's a gap between the eyes and the socket. Although it doesn't look too bad from the front.
I'll try. I'll do a test with alt eyes.
Tiga, I've just looked at your image. This could be an issue of the bone roll. Have you checked this? Yeah, this is for sure not correct. For the front legs, most probably need some roll. But I can't tell because the bone roll is some sort of arbitrary. It might be possible that you can create a model which works and has bone roll of 0. But on the other hand, the image looks pretty much like it's a roll issue. Yeah, but this is actually it's not the value of the roll which is important. It's the orientation of the bone axis is the most important thing. There is some sort of convenience that all bones which point downwards or upwards have their x-axis pointing to the same to the left or to the right, but all to the same side. There's a lot of work which you need to make on the bones in this, especially for quadrupeds. I know that the front legs need special care. I can't tell you for sure if this is a problem or if something else is broken still, but we are still not confident that whatever we have at the moment is correct in all aspects. So you might have found a bug there in Avastar. It might be a model issue with bone roll. I don't know. I can't say. Okay, then it's a problem in Avastar or somewhere else. I just from the picture I can't tell any more than what I have said before.
Okay, well, I think it's encouraging that we're seeing some, at least some of the problems improving with playing this workflow, but clearly we don't have all the answers yet. All right, any other new issues people are running into that they want to kick around at this point? Oh yeah, it's very cool. I'll take a look at it.
Thanks. I'm still missing some information here and there, so I don't know if there's something that you might have in mind, or anyone else here might be able to provide input. That would be very much appreciated.
Input for what?
Have you looked at the avatar LUD? Because all the information should be there.
I haven't. I'm not really sure. Should I be looking at that in like a text format, or?
Yes, it's text. It's an XML file.
Okay,
XML,
well,
if you have a viewer that actually, if you have an editor that actually knows XML, it can put it in a form that's a bit more readable than just opening it in a text editor. But
Okay.
it is text of a sort. There's really two files that everything is defined in. There's avatar skeleton.xml, which defines the bones and the hierarchy. So it'll tell you, that the M torso is a child of M pelvis, and the M chest is a child of M torso, and that sort of thing. You can see the nesting of everything is defined in avatar skeleton, and then avatar lad.xml has almost everything else. It's got all the slider definitions plus a whole bunch of other stuff. Unfortunately, it's so huge and so complicated that it takes quite a bit of work to glean anything from actually looking at it as text. If you go to a particular slider, like the height slider, you can maybe make a little bit of sense out of what it's doing, but if you try to look at the whole file, you're going to get bogged down in a whole bunch of other stuff that isn't actually the slider definitions as well.
So from that link that was just submitted, if I've been trying for weeks now to just get a regular skeleton with the torso, and you guys are not putting it out there. So if I just use these names, I can make my own skeleton? Yes or no?
So you're trying to get a model that has.
Yeah, and I can make a skeleton. I don't have a problem with that. I can make a skeleton. I can use your names. I just... Blender. Your skeleton imports badly because your bones are all separated from the body. It's got a tail and wings for the female model. So it's not what I need. It's not a female. It's something else. I just need a regular
So you're
body.
the kind of regular human bones without the
Yes.
and things.
You
Yes.
just can delete those bones.
There's no breasts, there's bones, there's no chest bones, there's no hip bones, there's no torso bones. So anything I need to attach to those torso bones there are no bones. So I can make my own skeleton if I can just use using the file off of Bento test female.
I don't get the problem actually, because as far as I know, we have a female, a male, and the Bento angel as Collada models.
But try importing it. I just download it. I import it to Blender, and the bones are missing. And it's got a tail and wings for the female.
In the model or in the bones?
From the file that is on the Bento test site from 8.5.
The
Yes.
skeleton probably includes all of the bones that are in the Bento skeleton. Right.
But not
the way
the-
it works is that every avatar actually has the same set of bones defined, It's just that in some cases there isn't anything rigged to them, so you don't see any effect from them. So
There's no
as far as
bones.
Bento is concerned, everybody
You're not
knows.
listening. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening.
Sorry.
You're
the
not
bones-
listening.
sorry. May I say something? The bones are in 100%. If the bones were not in, nobody could use those files for importing to second.
No one's using
what
those
you-
files. You're telling people to join two files, go into Avastar and join two files together. You already know the bones aren't there. You're just using a workaround. There are no torso bones.
Can you say? Can you give me a link where to the file which is missing the bones?
Yes, 1 second.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not sure if the last. Just let me look at it.
I think I've posted the most recent one there, but yeah, take a look.
From 5th of August. Okay, I'm downloading the human female now and looking at it.
Augustine, do you want a skeleton that doesn't have the hand bones or the face bones? Or do you just want a skeleton that doesn't have the wing and the rear hind bones and the tailbone, but you want the hand bones?
All I've
And
been
the face
saying
bones.
forever is I want the torso bones. That's the thing that's most important to me. The model that was there before didn't have hands or feet. It had the face. I don't care about the face. I want the torso bones and the feet bones and hand bones, the regular bones. But what you see in that model is you've got one bone in the torso and then all the other bones are attached, but not. There are no torso bones. There's wing bones and tail bones. So it's not something that is usable for a regular, normal creator. So if I want to make clothes, there are no places to attach it, a t-shirt for a normal thing.
Okay. So first of all, I'm not sure how to
All I'm asking now, because I'm getting really frustrated working with you guys. So all I'm saying, I know how to make a skeleton. I can make my own skeleton. If I just make a skeleton the normal way and just use your names, will that import correctly into your game? Okay, well then. You're saying yes, Elizabeth says no.
If you're using the new bones, you have to use the Bento viewer in order to upload it.
if you only want to use the classic bones, which are not the ones which have been there for all the time, is this what you want?
Yes, I want normal bones.
Yeah. So you first of all you could use one of the old Collada files, which
That are not there on your website.
Right. If you want a DAE file, Project Bento, we've been adding hand bones, face bones, tail bones, wing bones, rear hip, rear hind leg bones. If you just want the standard skeleton, which is feet, legs, torso, breastbones for the
Right, but what I don't understand is if you're adding bones, why don't you leave the normal bones and add the additional bones instead of taking away the normal bones?
Yeah, we
It's
have.
not all taken away. It must be a misunderstanding because I opened the file.
Understanding, I've downloaded the file twice now with the old version and with the new version, and you don't include the normal skeleton. You just include your project Bento additions.
Matrice, maybe you should put up a
sorry,
TA,
Elizabeth, if this doesn't please you, but you guys the Linden people are asking for creators to create. Well, you can't create if things are missing.
Yeah, but it's not missing. I opened the link which you have pointed me. I see all bones. I see them. I don't know what the problem is.
Could it be a Blender version issue or something like that?
No, I have the latest Blender.
I'm really not sure. But let me give you one information. There is a new development in Blender which is already available on the daily builds, which allows us to export a skeleton and import it back to from a collada file in almost the same. It just looks exactly the same. What I have exported last week doesn't include this information which is needed for the new Blender version. What I can do is I can do two exports. One export which contains the extra information, which can be imported back to Blender and looks exactly the same as it looked in the export. And I can create a version which is good for Maya users who do not like the Blender stuff. Actually, the first version of the skeleton has got all information, including the extra information to recreate the skeleton exactly. But someone from the Maya people told me that this is not a good idea because Maya was complaining about information it doesn't understand. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to provide two versions because the Blender people they can live even with what we have now. It doesn't look nice, but it should be workable.
I do have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay. She's having problem with importing the DAE files, right? I just looked at the page. There's no blend file, a simple blend file that she could simply open instead of importing. Because it sounds like she's having an import problem. If we just had a blend file on the WikiPS page, then she could simply open it instead of having to import it, and that would probably get rid of a lot of problems, I would think.
Make Human doesn't have this problem. So it's not a Blender problem.
Yeah, but I see all bones.
Yeah, there's probably something weird going on with her importing. There's probably some weird.
You look at the image. You can see all bones. They are all there. Only the bones don't have the correct size, which is exactly what I was talking about before. The bone sizes are a problem with Collada because Collada doesn't know about bones. It only knows about joints. Because of this, the bone endpoints of of some bones do not work.
What I'm saying is there's something weird about her version of Blender where it's not importing it correctly. So if she could simply open up a blend file instead of importing it, that would solve her problem that she's particularly having. I'm sure the DAE is fine. Sounds like there's something weird about her version of Blender where it's not importing all the bones, even though they're there. But if she could simply open up a blend file, the bones will all be there most likely.
Yeah, we can do this. You're right.
Yeah, because I ran into weird problems like that before because I've tried to I have my very, very old version of Maya 8.0, which has to use a beta collada importer in order to get a workaround. And I run into weird stuff like this all the time. So that's what I'm thinking. She probably has something weird about her version of Blender, unintentional, that it's just not importing the bones even though they're there. But yeah, a blend file would probably fix that.
Yeah, I can create a blend file if this is helpful. But still, I see all bones on this image, so there's no problem with import. They are all there.
Right, it's no problem with your version of Blender importing, because yours is working normal. Hers is not working normal.
It's possible it's a tools issue or a process issue if if people aren't importing with exactly the same settings or whatever. But yeah, if we could get blend files, I'm sure that would be helpful. It would make it easier to kind of skip the.
Tigger already put a link in the local chat. Looks like.
Cool. So I don't need to do it.
Okay. Well, Agatine, you might want to take a look at that Dropbox link there and see if that works any better for you with your Blender setup.
I don't have a Dropbox account. It makes me create an account.
Now you can download. There's a download button directly below. It asks you, but you can say no thanks. Continue to download at the bottom. I know this Dropbox stuff. I don't use it either, and but it's possible to download without having an account.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, Veer, I know we're getting late on time. I wanted, if you like, I made, since nobody really had been testing the new spine joints, I made a really quick, dirty test of the spine joints. So I made a real quick mesh and animation. Would you like to see it? Because everything looks like it's working fine.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
I'll put on the mesh and then I'll play the animation. I know this looks a little funny, but all I did was I just extended the spine so that instead of the new joints being on top of each other, or so that there was just one long spine, and I'll play the animation.
Oh, that's a great effect. It looks like those little advertising guys you see, at car dealerships or whatever, where you have a fan underneath and they sort of flop around.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I made it.
Nice.
So yeah, it's not a great mesh. I just stretched out the avatar's body and so, but it works. Everything works. The rotation. This is just made with rotations only. It's not made with translations. The animation, although I did do one with the translation animations, and they seem to be fine as well. Here, let me stop this. I'm starting to get nauseous.
A little dizzy there, yeah.
Okay, so there we go. I did want to let the Maya users know. Okay, anybody who's using Maya and they're using custom joint positions, there's a trick that you must know for sure. It's like Patrice, where you have to do things in certain order of procedures. Okay, in Maya users, if you're going to be using custom bone positions, you have to first move the bones into their positions that you want them in. Then you need to do a freeze transformation on those bones. Now, if you have anything rigged to those bones when you try to do a freeze transformation, you select the pelvis bone, and then you select the hierarchy, so you select all the bones in the skeleton. And then you do freeze transformation. If there's any mesh that's rigged to the skeleton when you try to do a freeze transformation, it will say, I can't do a freeze transformation because it was done. You have rigged mesh that was rigged to a different bind pose position. If you're using MayaStar, Maya Star has a create custom bind pose button in it in the menu. You don't have to unrig your mesh. You can simply click the create custom bind pose. And what that does is I wrote a Mel script that basically does the same thing as freeze transformation. So, but if you're not using Maya Star, you have to detach any mesh that you have attached to the skeleton in the new position, so that there's nothing rigged to it. You do your freeze transformation. I think you only have to do freeze transformation of the translations. The default Maya freeze transformation freezes transformation on the translations, the rotations, and the scaling. But I think you only have to do the freeze transformation on the translations and rotations. You don't have to freeze transformation on the scales. But the default does all three. So anyway, I just wanted to pass that along if anybody's doing that with Maya. And so, anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if anybody wants to compare notes, that maybe the forum thread would be a good place to swap tips or whatever. But it's nice that we've got some action going on the Maya front as well. Okay, well, I guess we're a bit past time. We should probably wrap it up for this week. And I'll keep you posted on the status of bug fixes. In the meantime, let us know if anything new comes up, and guess we'll see everybody in a week.
Sphere. Oh, Leviathan, you were asking about the male avatars. You shouldn't have to do freeze transformation on the male avatars because the male avatar bones are simply moved by the avatar lad when you switch from male to female. So you shouldn't have to do freeze transformation on the male avatar bones.
You mean in Maya Star?
Star, yeah, you shouldn't have to do that on the male avatar in Maya Star.
Because I was just doing it without Maya Star because I didn't think you had updated to the latest Bento on it, or did you do an update?
Oh no, yeah, no. I'm in the middle of trying to get the sliders in and all that, all the new changes into Maya Star. So I've been working on that for like the last 2 weeks. So yeah, they're not in there yet. In fact, I need to, and I promised at the last meeting I'd get them in. I need to create either FBX or Maya files that have the new bones in their final, or all the bones in their final positions, so that you guys can start to work off of those. And I've meant to do those in this last week, and I just got caught up doing a bunch of other tests, a bunch of other things that I have to do. So I'll try to get that in the next day or so and get it up on the wiki test page, so that will be the
Are you
bones
using
in
like
the final positions.
Oh, sorry. Using the DAE that's on like the wiki, the latest one, because I don't know, I had been having some trouble with the last version, but I don't know if it's working for you. Then I must just be doing something weird.
Right, I've been testing with all the new bones in the, or I shouldn't say all the new bones. We only added that one bone weeks and weeks ago before Veer went on vacation. But yeah, I moved all the bones in their final position and added that one jaw shape slider bone. And what I was trying to do, so I got the skeleton all done in Maya. I need to rig the default avatar mesh bring over the new weights so that the face will react to the bones and everything. That's the one thing I've been meaning to do and get done, so that the face and the hands and and the legs and all that are all rigged to the new skeleton. I wanted to get that done before I put it up on the Wiki Bento testing page. And that's the last thing I need to do. It shouldn't take that long, maybe a couple hours worth of work at most, to get all those weights in and have it look correctly and make sure that it's exporting out correctly. Now the Bento test avatars are all female. They're all with the bones in the female position. When I finish with the Maya star, there will be a male version as well, so that the new bones will be connected to the male skeleton, avatar or version in Maya star.
Okay,
That makes
awesome.
sense.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I was wondering if any Blender users tried exporting out of Blender as an FBX file, and then using the Autodesk, the free Autodesk FBX converter to convert it then to a DAE file. I mean, I know that's maybe possibly one workaround, but I know Matrice is eventually he's gonna get it worked out where you won't have to do anything like that. You'll be able to export right out of.
Sorry, you can't do this. When you are working with Avastar, you cannot use the default Blender exporter, because there are so many things which need to be done to the skeleton before it can be exported. The default Blender exporter doesn't take care about this, and when you try to use FBX, and it doesn't take care about anything which is specific to Second Life. So whatever you export, when you started with an Avastar rig, it will become a very messy export, which you probably won't be able to use for anything else.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But if you do not use Avastar, but you are working only with Blender, then the Blender default exporter should work perfectly. It is optimized for exporting for Second Life characters.
Okay, good to know.
Actually, we have been working on this since a couple of years now. Gaia was making most of the work there. I helped her a bit, but only a very, very small bit. But the main point is that it's us who maintain the Blender Collada exporter, and since our goal is to make it ready for Second Life, there should be no issue with Second Life users. And if there is an issue for Second Life users, we normally we fix it as soon as we get to know it.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. That this way, Blender users don't bother trying to try the FBX and then convert it. So that's good to know.
As far as I know, the FBX is not yet fully implemented in Blender, so it may have issues. I think we will have to look into this for the next for Sansa, because Sansa will have FBX. So we try to get into the FBX exporter as well, but not at this moment. At this moment, we have a lot to do for Avastar still.
Right. Oh, interesting. I know the FBX export or converter from Autodesk can also take a DAE file and convert it to FBX. I don't know if that would be helpful at all.
Not for Blender users, I think.
I'll just say that I make I have a number of products for the Unity game engine, and that all uses FBX, and I haven't had any problems at all.
Exporting from Blender, you mean?
Exactly.
Fine.
Right, but not using Avastar.
Oh, I use Avastar too.
Oh, with the FBX exporter?
Not with their exporter.
Okay. When you make something for Unity, you're not using Avastar?
No, I use all of Avastar's features. I just export it as a normal FBX.
Oh.
Actually, I export it as an ASCII FBX.
Yeah, you can do this. You can export with only deformed bones, I think, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Yeah. I remember this was a discussion at the beginning of... I think FBX and the Collada are trying to get closer together and provide the same features. The Collada exporter can do this already. And probably FBX could do it all the time also, because it makes a lot of sense for target systems to not include the control rig for the target system. Yeah, is still someone interested in understanding how to work with the joint editor in Blender Avastar? I'm not. Maybe I should say 2 or 3 sentences about how to work best with it. I believe the documentation tells everything already, but the most important thing which you need to know when you want to work with the joint positions in Avastar is we try actually to let the Avastar rig behave exactly in the same way as the avatar in the Second Life viewer does. So all sliders should work also when you have defined joint positions. But in order to get this working correctly, we need to know when you have defined joint positions, and we need to know we need to know when you have defined joint positions. The problem is that you can use the slider systems before you edit the joints, or you can use it after you edit the joints. You can mix the sliders and the joint edits, and all this needs to be taken care of. And then this doesn't make things very easy for us. It should make them very easy for you at the end. But the point is, when you start with the white stickman icon, this is what I explained before, then you start with the neutral pose, with the neutral skeleton, which makes things more easy in the calculations of Avastar. When you go into the editor and modify the bone positions, I mean the armature editor, then as soon as you got your positions where you want them to be, you need to tell Avastar, this is my modified rig. We need this information because we could track your edits as soon as you do them, but this takes a lot of time, and we didn't want to do this. So we just let Blender do its job and edit the bones as usual and everything. You just only need to define at one specific point. Now I'm ready, and now this, whatever I have edited, is my version of the skeleton. And this is done in the rig config panel. There is a button named Store Joint Edits. If you do this, and then you can use the sliders afterwards. So on the other side, someone asked before how you can how you can conserve your edits before you use the white stickman icon, because when you click on it, you get back to the T-pose. This is you did never tell Avastar that you have a joint, you have edited joints. So Avastar just thinks when you click on the stickman icon that it has to redo the T-pose, the second life T-pose. Well, when you first store the joint edits before you click on the white stickman icon, then whatever you store is not exactly correct, but it is at least more or less in the same configuration as what you want to edit. So the trick is, when you have already started editing your joints and you forgot to use the white stickman icon, you first go to the rig config, then click on the store joint edits, and then you will see that probably the bones will shift around a bit, but hopefully not a lot. And then you can go and fix your skeleton, and then afterwards you click again on store joint edits. This is at least what should work, and this is a workaround. Of course, the most reliable workflow at the moment is to first click on the white stickman icon and then go ahead. Yeah. No, the store joint edits exists since a couple of weeks. It has been introduced in Alpha 4, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Alpha 3 or Alpha 4. Yeah. If you look into the edits, which I am doing all the day, actually right now I have been doing editing for 2 days, and I think I have several hundred lines modified meanwhile, because I need to redo a lot of the functions to get things more stable. Unfortunately, I have been working all the time with something which has been programmed for about 4 years now, and I tried to edit. I tried to modify the software so that it works for Bento. I should have reprogrammed everything from the beginning. It would have been faster.
So,
Now,
if I can comment on that for a little bit, this is not very intuitive right now. I know the previous workflow was that you move the Avastar bones, then you snap rig to pose, and we weren't able to work with the sliders, and that was fine. Should I be able to assume that in the future we'll be able to follow that same workflow of move the Avastar bones, snap rig to pose, and that should work the same as if we're clicking that white stickman icon? Because it doesn't make sense to me to have two completely different workflows for if you are going to use sliders versus if you aren't. I mean, if we choose to create our avatar the same way we always have and not use the shape sliders, can I assume that the avatar, the rig that we start with when we add a new rig to the file, is going to work exactly the same? We move the bones, snap rig to pose, and are we just going to have to change the whole workflow moving forward, depending on which way we're doing it.
No, we are. I thought that I have been saying this a couple of times today, and it's also written in the document that this is a workaround because we are not finished. We have an alpha version of the software. It doesn't work. We could have chosen to say no, we don't give out anything because it's not working. But this wouldn't be very good for everybody because you guys, you want to use the software, and we are doing a lot to get it working as good as possible. And if it were me,
Okay, I understand that it's
I would have liked to see this being finished 2 months ago. I thought it was finished, but then we started doing some more intense tests, and we found that everything was working only for very specific cases. And then I started to get really hard work, and it hasn't finished yet. But actually, the end, when we are finished with all this stuff, then it should become much easier than it is now. We will get rid of a lot of buttons. Probably, maybe we even can forget the store joint edits button, and all this could possibly be done automatically again. But first, we need to get all the basic work really fixed and working for all cases. Which is a nightmare, I can tell you.
Okay, that was my question. I understand that right now it's a work in progress. My question was long term. Can I assume that both of these workflows are going to line up again? Because right now there's a lot of extra button clicks. There's a lot of different things you need to do based on which way you do it. I'm thinking long term here because I'm in the short term becoming very frustrated with the workflow changing. Just a few weeks ago, we were told that we should do it this way, and I did it this way, and now it's changed, and you're telling us now today that we're experiencing problems because we didn't do it this other way, which you hadn't told us yet because it wasn't working yet. So long term, can we assume that these workflows are going to line up again?
Long term, you can expect that the workflow will change, but it will become easier. Easier means you won't have to do. You will have to do less to get to the same result.
Okay.
I cannot tell you exactly how it will be at the end. It will be somewhere between what we have now and between having one button create a new skeleton and edit your bones and all as well. Somewhere in between, you will find we will be. For sure we will make it consistent. Actually, at the moment we do have 3 or 4 different ways to work with the bones and with joint edits. There is one development which was aimed to create something like a bind pose workaround, which Blender doesn't have, but we need it. And then we have the joint editor now, and then there's something else which we have. We have already something else. Again, you do not need to use the armature editor to edit the bones. You can use the armature pose editor to edit, and then click on the what is the button's name? Just a moment. But it's described in the document also. There's one button which is named Snap Rig to Pose, which actually also defines the joint edits and all this stuff. It's really a work in progress, and it will become easy. I promise. Yes, Aki, there is actually, when you are in pose mode, then the bones themselves do not move. the skeleton is not moving. It's only the pose which is defined on top of the skeleton. And when you are in this mode and you click on the snap rig to pose, then what we do is we take the information of the current pose and bake this pose into the skeleton. And when you unlock the control bone lock, then you can move the green bones wherever you want, and then you can click on snap rig to pose, and you have defined your joint offsets already. This is automatic at the moment. This has some advantage, some disadvantage, but well, you can use it, or you can just go to the editor, to the bone editor itself, and then it doesn't. Then you don't need the snap rig to pose, but you use the store joint edits button. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to do it. It's just it's options which you can use. You can use the pose editor if you like it more. You can use the armature editor if you like this more. You can combine both. Okay, at the moment you can't do this really reliably, but it should be possible when we are finished. Oh, I just maybe I want to say something else also. Some people have sent us blend files and collada files for inspection. Actually, we have been looking into these files. We didn't respond because we are still working in progress, and you will get informed as soon as we are confident with what we have. So please be patient until we have finished the development. Yeah, this is another problem, I think, with the moving up and down, as far as I remember.